Toastmasters, Tuesday, October 30th. My name is Kendra. I am your host today, as well as your Sergeant at Arms and Grammarian. With that, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster for this morning, Mr. Buzz Brown.
Well, welcome, and as Kendra said, we're really under the lights this morning. Get used to it. This is a great opportunity that the church opened up this room for us to be able to come and practice our speaking. It gives us a chance to speak in a room that's really large and with a microphone. And thank you to Ranjit for filming it so we get to really be under the lights and see what it's like for people that are speaking into cameras all the time and lights. Just wanted to go over the agenda. Today is a speaking meeting. We have 4 speakers. We'll be presenting the speeches and doing the evaluation. And then after the speeches are complete, we will have Jock come up and do some table topics. And everybody that is not speaking or would like to do table topics, we will do that. Can everybody hear me okay? We'll go through the agenda. We'll have Ethan give us his speech. He'll be the first speaker. Our second speaker will be Debbie. Third speaker is myself. We do not have a fourth speaker. We'll wipe that off of the agenda. And then Barry is listed as our 5th speaker. For evaluations, Mavis is going to do the evaluation of Ethan. Number 2, I think we still have work to do there. I think we still need an evaluator for Debbie's speech. Candace? Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Speech number 3, mine. Mike was going to do my evaluation, and then Graham is going to do Barry's evaluation. So that'll pretty well keep us all pretty busy, so maybe we can all do table topics if we have time. We're left over at the end. Good. An interesting thing when coming into speaking in a foreign area, it's a really good idea to come a little early and think about the different things you have to put up with. One is the mic, making sure that the mic works for you. In some buildings, they may have a remote mic or a mic you can put on your lapel. So those are things that you should come early to make sure that you have so you can decide how you want to move. Today we've elected just to have the microphone. With that, we'll be needing to stay fairly close to the lectern. Getting used to the lights or seeing the lights and letting your eyes adjust to them a bit, also important. Also, a couple things, get familiar with the lectern if you want. There's a little light here that you can turn on and just get a feel for the whole building so that when you do get up and have a chance or when you do your speech that you don't have some obstacles get in your way. For that, I do believe that I'll just go on. Ken is going to do the timing. Sorry, Jock? Yes. Ken is going to do the timing. He'll record the time, and just at the end of the meeting, we'll have Ken let everybody know how long they took with their speech. And also we have Kendra doing a special grammarian function today. Kendra is going to keep track of some of our grammatical challenges we have while we're speaking up here at the end, and just share those with us at the end of the meeting, and share with us hopefully maybe some of the good things we were able to do or things that caught her attention for feedback for us. We'll get into our meeting now. I'd like to introduce our second newest member of our club, who's come today prepared to give his icebreaker. Would you all welcome with me Ethan Grant. Ethan's icebreaker. Ethan Grant, icebreaker.
Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about my life and what has happened in my life. I was born in Canada in the city of Red Deer on December 17th, 2001. In my family, I have my father, Cameron, my mother, Jen, my sister, Chloe, and my 2 younger brothers, Miles and Harrison. My family goes to a church called Crossroads. It's that big church near the end of the city. My dad, he was a dentist for 10 years. And my mom, she was a hygienist working for my dad at his clinic. They had their old building in Black Falls. And I used to swim, competitively swim for a group called Catalina, a swim club. I was very good. I got a lot of best time. I went to a lot of provincials. And I improved over time, got faster and faster. And I started when I was 7. And I stopped a few months ago because I was getting too old and become slower. I went to a Catholic school for my elementary and my kindergarten years at a school called École Chez Le Rouge. And I was there at Camille until grade 7. 2 years ago, my family moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba, because my dad, he didn't like his work anymore. He wanted to become a specialized dentist for little children. And there was a few choices where we could go to Vancouver or down the States or Winnipeg. There was only 3. Those were the only 3 schools. And it was very hard. Like only 2 people get into the program each year, and he was one of the 2 people that got into it. And so he decided to move to Winnipeg, where I finished my grade 8 year, which is a school that I forget the name of. And for grade 9, I went to a special private all-boys school called St. Paul's, which I really liked. They had really good food, and I worked in the background at a play there. And well, my sister, she didn't like Winnipeg so much, so she decided to move back with one of my mom's friends. And a year after my sister was gone, my mom didn't like the family to be apart, and so we moved back to Red Deer. And during our time in Winnipeg, we got a Labradoodle dog named Murphy. And a few months back, well, my dad wasn't done school, so he kept on moving from Winnipeg to Red Deer all the time, just for a few days. And he worked in Calgary as his job. But he'll move to, I forget the place, but where Cineplex and Costco is, Castellane Alley. In a few months back, my mom got breast cancer, and it was very hard for us because dad wasn't there. And so my mom had our family and her friends pray for her, and a few months later she got better and she was healed. And my dad he had to take a test. He had to take 2 tests, one oral and one physical. So I have no idea like what each test, but for one test he told us that he just had to stand on a board of dentists and just tell him they'll give him scenarios and he would tell him what to do. And so he passed 2 tests in last summer, and that was in July. And last summer I worked at a camp called SABC, which is Southern Alberta Bible Camp. And my dad wanted me to get experience for my resume, so that's why I went. And so I worked in the kitchen and for August, and for July I worked as a junior camp counselor, and for in late August, my sister got accepted into school in BC at the British Columbia University. So she moved to BC. My family went for a few days and we moved back to Red Deer just to see her off. And so for high school, I've been going, for grade 10 and grade 11, I've been going to a high school called St. Joseph High School, and that's what happened so far in my life.
Thanks very much, Ethan. It's very great you shared your life story with us, and we're looking forward to future speeches. Our second speaker for this morning is giving speech number 2 from the Competent Communication Manual. Please welcome me, Debbie Obajanjo. Cooking experience, Debbie.
Good morning, everyone. The title of my speech today is Cooking Experiences. I started cooking at the age of 11, taught by my older brother. I think my older sister just thought going to boarding school would teach you everything, and she would say, cook this, and I would just go all blank. I'll run to my older brother who really loved to cook, and his favorite phrase was, "That's so easy." And he'll teach me how to do it. So that was how I learned how to cook. I also was in a program in school. It was a class called Home Management. So they taught you how to cook as well as clean the house, nutrition, different kinds of things that just helps you. So that was really good as well. Cooking was a big deal for me. I really love to cook, and a lot of people that know me as somebody that loves to cook. Like, I come up with different dishes, and most times they hold on to one, and I have to keep doing that one for them if there's a potluck or something. Meanwhile, I have a long list of stuff to do. I think cooking is a big deal. I mean, there are shows now on cooking. You can stay transfixed on the TV all day just watching it, and you could just get hungry. I hope I'm not making anybody hungry. But it is a big deal because what you put in your body, comes out. And, you think of there are a few things you think about. You think about, how you arrange the ingredients you need, how you arrange, what goes after the other in the pot, or if you're baking, whatever you need to do. I see it as an adventure for me. It gives me solace. It gives me peace. When I'm cooking, I'm just, happy and joyful. There are a few things to, consider. It also helps you to know other people, especially when you're adventurous. It's an adventure because different cultures have different spices, and then you go into it, you learn from them what they feel. And so those are the kind of things you consider as well when you're cooking. You consider your audience or the people that will be eating. But it must be a big deal because I know this phrase, I don't know if it's here. It says the way to a man's heart is through his belly. Well, so if you can get to somebody's heart through cooking, I mean, that's like a jackpot. You just get what he likes or what she likes, and you go for it. So for me, I love spicy, hot and spicy. My kids don't really like it hot and spicy, and some other people don't. So most of the time, you want to check, or have a feeling of what the people that would be eating would like, and also what would you get, from what you're eating. For example, garlic is really good is an antibacterial. You have, nutrients to think about. You don't just put junk in. You have to think about different things that, that are going into your body. Recently, somebody introduced me to a diet called keto. It's funny because it's low carbs and high fat. I remember going shopping to buy meat somewhere in Lacombe, and the guy was telling me, "Oh, there's lean meat," and and I was asking him, "It's a meat store," and I was asking him, "No, that for a high fat meat," and he was shocked, like that's the first, because the theory is that your body actually should burn fats for energy and all that, but it doesn't get to the fats because you fill your body with sugars and from everything you eat, from the carbs, from the sugar itself, from the fruits and all that. So you want to teach your body to go back to burning fats instead of so it starts initially to a high fat, but later you regularize. But what you're regularizing or trying to maintain is not a high sugar diet, right? So you're going to have fruits, but you have it minimally, not everything sugar, carbs, sugar, and all that. But you're just going to have, all balance. And that's what they call balanced diet. Like, what is it? What is balance, So cooking is really nice if you're, it's something that you want to go into. It's really nice, especially for couples. It brings them together. If, in the kitchen, doing work together, cooking together and all that. So, and of course the taste of the food. So, that's my experience of cooking today.
Having double duties today, I'm going to introduce myself as Buzz Brown, and I'm presenting a speech today called Game On. So here it is, Game On, Buzz Brown. I found this Pathways program to be really incredible, and I'm really excited about moving on and completing the whole Pathway project I started. Back in April, I took the questionnaire for Pathways, and Pathways recommended that I pursue the effective coaching program. So I thought, great. Haven't really been around coaching too much other than watching coaches in sporting events, but I am a bit familiar with how professional coaches or personal coaches are helping people. So I was quite interested to pursue it and see if it was something I could develop my skills at. Along the way, I found this interesting term, or this interesting thing called gamification. And gamification is the idea of taking gaming thoughts, or electronic gaming thoughts, and the electronic mechanisms that are used for gaming, using those ideas and applying them to other situations where those concepts could be used to help people learn or develop. Found it very interesting. So I went to academia, the internet, and did some research. And I found one particular paper that I quite found very interesting. The paper was put together by the University of Amsterdam. It was Olga Biza, and she was supervised by Professor Anton Elias. The title of her paper was Gamification, How Games Can Level Up Our Everyday Lives. Found it very interesting. I'll forward you the link for the whole research paper. It's really, I thought, an excellent paper. But I'll do that, and along the way of doing that, and while I was researching, I came across 2 other articles that I'll also include and just give a little different bit of perspective on where gamification's going. So I've got the 3 references. The primary references is for Olga's presentation. But also I'm a regular reader of a research or an investment research paper made by Casey. Doug Casey's the guy's name, and there was some interviews they were doing that I took some excerpts out of, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And also a paper I found, or a news article I found where gamification didn't go very well, so I'll talk about those also. But for Olga's report, I think the biggest thing that came out of my research around gamification is its incredible ability to to confer the power that people have. People that are playing these games are used to standing in lineups waiting to be served. In these games, they can change that whole paradigm, and they can see what it's like to be the person deciding how he organizes the people to get their service. So it gives them a lot of insight to things that from day to day every one of us don't get exposed to and more than likely don't think about. We've been taught like sheeps just to follow the herd. So that was probably one of the most important things I found out of the research is how this game transfers people's ability to think. And I think that's very powerful, and we'll talk about that a little more later. But in essence, gamification is a way to reward people when tasks are accomplished. So whether it's points, badges, leaderboards, or virtual goods that are given out for your accomplishment, all of these things help people work harder to perform. In the context of R&D, Olga found that, in fact, I found another word, ideation. And what ideation is structured brainstorming. Feel like that. Anyhow, for another path some other day. But under the R&D, they really found there's 2 different paths for this gamification. One specifically around the individual, how the individual both interacts with, that game environment that's set up. And then group thinking, where you have a group of people. There's a bunch of different examples given in the research report. Again, I'll leave that to you to go back and check if you'd want to see. Carrying on from Olga's research, as I mentioned, I was reading my investment research letter, and I got to a point in the interview where the one fellow said, "It looks like the education system is making people dumb." And these 3 people that were doing the interview, I'll just let you know who their names were. And one was John Hunt. John is a doctor and an investor. He's an entrepreneur. The other 2 fellows were Sandy Shaw and Dirk Pearson. Sandy and Dirk together have been experts and been working on anti-aging research and brain biochemistry. So these guys know what they're talking about. The two of them also authored a New York bestseller, #1 bestseller. The name of the book is Life Extension, A Practical Scientific Approach. Now, get on from their comment about people being dumb. What they're finding is our prefrontal cortex in our brain, and this is especially true for millennials. Millennials have gone through life without having to ever accomplish anything. They've been unconditionally rewarded with everything they do. They went through a period of life where everybody was a winner, everybody got a certificate. Well, what happens with the human brain? Brain takes a lot of energy, and it's designed to minimize the amount of energy consumption. So when people were always given rewards and never had to work for them, the brain shut down, quit using energy. So these people literally don't know how to think. But the interesting thing out of this interview, the guys went on and says, well, everybody's in millennials having problems except for the gamers. The gamers, because of the way these games are put together and the way they're acting, they know what to do. So I found that very interesting in how gamification, or a practical application of gamification, how it can help the rest of us. The item that went wrong was in Disneyland in Los Angeles. Deep in the bowels of Disneyland is an incredibly large laundry room. There's a lot of people that work in that laundry room. They work 24 hours a day. Several years ago, Disney decided to put in a measuring board, a leaderboard, showing which of the group was getting through the most laundry in a day. So they got a green light when everything was good. If they started to slow down, it was yellow. If they fell behind everybody, it was red. Well, all the people in the room, this was really bad, they called, excuse me, they called this the electronic whip. And it really didn't work well, and Disney ended up taking it out. So there's an example of gamification where, from a social impact, it does not work for social control. That was my research for gamification. I really believe that coaches going forward are really going to be threatened in the future by